Welcome, my name is Aneta Felix. Here's my first impressions of America, part 2. Number 1, pronouns are a big deal here. It's one way people break the ice, introduce themselves, and expressly state their gender so you don't misgender them. For instance, in a social setting, it's become commonplace for people to say, I'm Aneta Felix, she, her. I am so-and-so, he, him. I am so-and-so, they, them. Coming from a traditional African setting where the norm is masculine and feminine, it took me quite a while to adjust to the idea of genders other than those two. There's some things you hear about, there's some things you read about, but until you're immersed in that environment, you may not truly understand what it feels like. You know, there's something just experiential about experiences. So it really made me curious. So this issue of gender and gender identity really reminds me of a quote I heard one time that says, you may not understand something, but you have to respect it. Something else that really surprised me about the culture is buy nothing groups. I mean, people literally form groups where they just discuss with other people about how to offload their stuff that you don't need anymore. You know, for instance, you have a couch, you don't need it anymore. Maybe you want to upgrade. People discuss with other people randomly on platforms like Facebook on how to just give it to them for free. Or they leave it on the streets. They just leave the furniture, things on the streets for anyone to pick them up. I mean, I visited a friend of mine once and I saw something really nice in her house and I asked, oh, how did you get this? And she told me, oh, this artwork, she picked it on the street at the junction. And I'm like, wait, hold up. This beautiful piece of art you picked on the street. How do you mean? And she was like, oh, not just that, even this couch. You know, my husband and I picked this couch at the other junction. It was just on the street. And I'm like, oh my God, is this for real? So they explained to me that, you know, this may not be everywhere. It's especially popular in student areas, like student communities like Berkeley. You know, people just do that. You know, they are benevolent and they just drop their stuff, you know, for anyone who's interested to pick them up. And I think that's cool. You know, you have a fully furnished house. You got this from that street. You got your table from that street. You got your TV from the other street. And I'm like, really nice. Really nice. Another thing that shocked me relating to this is libraries. Let me explain, right? So people literally set up very little shelves and they stack books there. Anyone interested can look through and pick any book. Just pick any book you like. You can read it, return it if you like, or take it with you. There's no one around. No one's asking you to write your names, fill in any forms, nothing. No questions asked. Pick a book you're interested in and go and read. Educate yourself. And I think that's really cool. Another thing that really shocks me about this country, and I don't know if I would ever shake it off, is how older and younger people relate very casually. For instance, I was chatting with my mom on the phone. I was having a video call with my mom the other day, and my friend who's lived in America almost all her life was talking to my mom, and guess what she says? She asks my mom, "What's your name?" I was shocked. I looked at her. I'm like, I don't get it. What are you doing? You're asking my mom for her name? She was like, yeah, she wants to know my mom's name. And I had to school her. I'm like, sis, in Nigeria, I do not know the names of my friends' mothers and fathers. We just call them mama and the name of your friend. For example, your friend's name is Loveth. You call her mom Mama Loveth. Or you call her mommy. Like, in fact, that's the general term. Your friend's mom is your mom. The woman on the street is your mom. The woman on the street is your auntie. It's just a general term that we use. So we don't say, oh, what's your name? And then, for instance, which is actually the case, my mom's name is Florence. And then I have my friend call my mom Florence. I have never called my mom Florence. Why should you do that? You know, so, but here it's different. You know, professors even ask you to call them by their names without any honorifics, no titles, nothing. People are just very casual with, you know, their names and they're just cool. But coming from a traditional African background where we're very big on respect, it's just a different thing, a different idea entirely. I have watched how people interact with their parents, and it's so different from how interactions are with parents in Nigeria. Usually, the norm is you never argue with your parents. Your parents are always right. Of course, we know they're not, but you just do not argue with them. When your parents ask you to do something, you go ahead and do it. You may complain and mumble, but you do it all the same, right? But here, you find parents asking their children what they think about their opinion, if they would like to do a chore. And the parents make statements like, oh, I respect your boundaries, I respect your choices, which is good and fine. I'm just saying, it's just a different culture I'm coming from. We're not used to all that, right? Parents do respect you. Parents can respect you, but it's just not the norm to be that open, like for parents to acknowledge a wrong or to say, I respect you. Usually it's the other way around. I heard someone the other day make a comment about an older family member of theirs, and the African in me was shaking. And I'm like, you never talk bad about your family member. At least not in public. It's just not done. It's a thing of respect. You just do not do that, especially to a crowd. So there's that very big cultural difference that you need to understand. This one was very shocking. But right now, to be honest, if I had not written it down, I wouldn't have even remembered to add it to my list of shocking things today because I'm already used to it. And that's because the food in America tastes very different from the food in Nigeria. Let me explain. We know how watermelons taste in Nigeria, the sweet, delicious watermelon. You know how apples taste, how pear tastes, how chicken tastes. When you come here, those fruits do not taste like those fruits. They just do not taste the same. Apples in Nigeria do not taste like apples in the US. Watermelons in Nigeria do not taste like watermelons. When I first had it, I was like, is this an apple? I know it looks like an apple, but it doesn't taste like the apple that I know, that I've known for the past 2 decades of my life. So it just doesn't taste the same. But as at this point, I can't even tell. I'm used to it. We're living. Another weird thing about this country is the weather, in the sense that there is sunlight without warmth. So you can see the sun, it's shining very brightly, but dare step out and it's cold. The weather is really cold, you need 2 jackets on. Yeah. So that's what I say it is. It is sunlight without warmth. If you were in that kind of a sunlight shining that brightly in Nigeria, best believe you will be sweating. But no, that's not what it is here. Also, I've noticed that most houses here do not have fences and security guards. In Nigeria, most houses are built with fences. There's a big fence, there's a security guard, there's even a boys' quarter built for a security guard. He's put on a salary, and his job is to man the gates, open the gates. But here, there are hardly any gates. There are hardly any gates. I do not see any gates. Even in the school, UC Berkeley, there are no gates to the campus. Well, there is a gate. It's called the Gate, but it's not locked. There is unrestricted access into campus. So in houses as well, you have a house that is just by the sidewalk, and that's how most houses are. They're just by the sidewalk, just by the pavement. There are no gates. People can just break in, break out, whatever, but there are no gates. There are no security men, and most houses are wooden. That's another thing I've noticed. Most houses are built of wood. I have no idea why this is, but in Nigeria, the convention is to build houses with bricks, but it's just a different vibe here, where you have the wooden houses, no gates, no security guard. This next point was very, very funny to me. 2 in 1 about the toilets. There are toilet sensors that flush after you go automatically. 2, there are toilet covers, that's toilet seat covers. So, as I like to say, where I'm coming from, I never had the experience of a toilet sensor that automatically flushes itself. But coming to Berkeley, it seems to be a thing around, especially within the university community, where you go and then after a few seconds, the sensor is activated by motion and it flushes itself. I spoke to a few people in my first few days of being here. People who have not lived in America, and they experienced the shock to see that the toilet actually flushes itself. It sounds genius. I love the technology behind that. But yeah, it wasn't something I've been used to all my life. So in Nigeria, when we want to commute, we take bike, motorcycles, or what we'll call Okada, right? They're motorbikes. Or we take the bus. And the preferred transportation by young people is Uber, or Lyft. But here, most people walk. People walk a lot. There's just a culture of walking. There's a culture of walking. You may have a 10-minute distance to go, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, and people would rather walk. And because of that, people wear sneakers a lot. You look around campus, you look everywhere, people are wearing sneakers. From old to young, rich to poor, everyone's wearing sneakers. You hardly see people wearing sandals and flats and other forms of footwear. Maybe around summer, maybe. But the majority footwear you would find is sneakers. People wear sneakers a lot because people walk a lot, and because people walk a lot, no one stops to give you a ride here. In Nigeria, people hardly walk. When you walk, it's like, why are you walking? You don't have money to take an Uber. It's just not a thing to walk. We usually just book a ride. It's so easy, just book a ride. And if a lady is walking casually on the road, it is a norm in my country, Nigeria, that random people will stop, especially men, and offer to give you a ride. But coming here, the first few days, first few weeks, I'm walking to class or something, no one's stopping to give me rides, and I'm like, what's happening? This isn't the vibe that I'm used to from NAIJA. This is not the Ikoyi vibes I've been used to all my life. What's happening here? No one will literally stop you. No one will stop to give you a ride. You will trek. Number one, because of security reasons, people are scared. No one wants to die. And number two, everybody walks, so they're trying to respect your choice that you're choosing to walk. It's just something that struck me my first few weeks of being here. Also, people dress very casually in America, and most especially in this area. Maybe in places like LA, where entertainment is really huge, people go all out for fashion and things like that. But at least in my Berkeley experience, casual is the dress code. So you see those posts of Mark Zuckerberg and all these rich guys in the US, and they say, oh, look at this rich man. He's worth billions of dollars, and he's wearing just a t-shirt and a jean and sneakers, and they compare that side by side with a picture of a Nigerian who has some money, who's adorning gold chains and rings and looking fly, and they say, oh, look at that poverty mentality. I don't think that's what it is. I think Nigerians just have an inherent drip. We just have an inherent swag. We just know how to dress up and show out and flaunt it. We just have style. It's just, allow me brag. It's just a given, So here it's not really about the money. It's just the style and the culture of the place. The people just wear t-shirts, jeans, sneaks, and they're out. No one's doing extra. No one's going all out to dress up. But our people, we drip, we glow, we just show off. That's who we are. Yeah, it's not a matter of poverty or poverty mindset or anything. It's just the culture of the people. We're just flamboyant, we're just extravagant, we're just extra. That's it. Period. Work here is based on a number of metrics: hourly pay, bi-weekly pay, monthly pay. So, I mean, in Nigeria, you get your salaries at the end of the month. At least I am not aware of any company in the country that pays you by the hour. Another thing that really struck me about the country is Americans' love for their pets. If you're taking a walk on the road at any given day, there's a chance that at least 80% of people will be walking a dog or driving their cars with a dog inside, or they'll have their dogs in their bags. People just carry their dogs everywhere. They love their dogs, they play with their dogs, they pet their dogs, they walk their dogs in the parks, whatever, wherever. They take their dogs everywhere with them, in the planes, in the malls. Another thing I've had to get used to in this country is appointments. You have to schedule things in this country. Everybody works with their Google calendars, right? If you need to go to the hospital, you have to schedule an appointment. If you need to go to whatever, you need to schedule an appointment. If you need to meet a friend, you need to schedule an appointment. Whatever you need to do, you need to book a house tour, you need to schedule an appointment. It's just very different from the Nigerian culture where you just pop in. You just pop in to see someone, you just pop into the hospital, you just pop in here, pop in there, just whatever. But you have to book, you literally have to schedule an appointment. And at least for the hospital that I've experienced here in Berkeley, if you miss an appointment, you're going to be charged. I think it's about $25, I'm not exactly sure. But if you miss your hospital appointment, you will be charged. So get ready to book appointments. The norm in Africa is that the men pay for dates. But here, it's a different thing entirely. People do a lot. Either the woman pays if she initiated the date, or they split it 50-50, or whatever. But in Nigeria, if a man asks to see you, or even if you initiated the date, he'll most likely come pick you up, or send you a cab, or pay for your Uber. He'll take you out, and it's all on him, because the African man has that ego, that sense of pride in providing and in showing that he has financial stability. It's just a thing, for African men, at least most of them. But no one cares. It's all about an equal world, an equal society. A woman can do better, a woman can care for herself, she's strong and independent. I'm really all for that, caring for yourself, being a strong, independent woman, doing what a man can do, earning your own money. Another thing that really surprised me here is the idea of returns. So when you buy an item and it's not working for you, you can totally return it. For instance, the last lights soft boxes that I was using had an issue with the rotation, and I simply returned it and I got my money back. So easy. In some other parts of the world, you can't do that. No, there is no guarantee. You can't do that. You bought it, now it's your liability, But the fact that you're able to return stuff if they're defective, that's amazing. That's really cool. Really, really cool. And I've heard about people actually buying stuff, using it for a while, and then returning it. It's not exactly fair to the business, but I hear people do that. So basically taking advantage of the policy to return stuff. But yeah, it is what it is in this place. My final point for today is that in America, most people are coffee drinkers. I do not think I will ever switch to the coffee side of drinks. I'll stay with my tea, thank you. Sips tea, but most people are coffee drinkers, black coffee, whatever, they just love coffee. It's just a thing. Caffeine, they love it. Especially in the student community where students have to, stay all night and study. Then they do need that kick of coffee, by the morning to start their day. Some people I hear can't even function without having a cup of coffee. And that's just how it is. And it's a wrap over here. It's been amazing experiencing new things in this country and having the privilege of the internet to share these with you. I hope you learned a thing or two. Let me know which shocked you the most. which surprised you the most in the comment section below. And just before we go, I was gonna add that I've always been curious about veganism and trying to be a vegetarian. It was something that I was eager to try when I visited the US, but it's not catching on to me quite yet. But we'll see how it goes. If you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, please do so. Hit the subscribe button and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.